Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Glassman's World. It is Sunday, the following Sunday after the solar eclipse, which makes it what's today? Today is April 14th, 2024. So, I don't know about you guys, but there's been a lot of chaos that's been going on after this whole eclipse, during the eclipse, before the eclipse. I don't know if you guys got hit with anything like this, but man, it feels like our home got hit pretty decent. Got feels like a whirlwind just came through and hit our home and all kinds of stuff going on. So, gosh, ever since April 2nd, I started following um, following the moon into the eclipse, trying to keep track of what was going on with their paths and things like that, and noticing how the moon was going through my window right here and coming up from down there. Now I'm noticing that the moon is way up high, and I'm wondering if it's just been coming up low, way down low in the south, and then setting really high in the north instead of setting down to the south. But the week prior to that, I do believe that the sun was a lot further to the south. When I take my daughter to school, we see it in the mornings sometimes. So it was interesting to me that that the moon had changed positions like that so quickly, so abruptly. But but yeah, it is what it is. Um, During the eclipse, looks like there was a lot of video footage of the moon still being visible away from the eclipse, which is a weird thing, guys. I don't know if any of y'all noticed any of that. When I was when I during the eclipse, I was actually live. I was performing one last time at Blues Notes, which was in honor of our friend who recently passed away this past summer, or last summer, and so I did one last performance there in his honor, and to thank him for all the good times and everything, and also um, it was right like an hour previous or right into going into the eclipse. We had complete cloud coverage that day, and it was mostly chemical clouds. The chemical plumes that they put up in the sky. It seemed like that was everywhere, guys. I don't know where you guys live or where you're watching from, but let me know in the comments below. Was your skies completely grayed out, like an overcast sky from their spray nozzles coming from the airplanes, doing the weather manipulation or modification or cloud seeding or whatever they want to call it? Were your skies completely grayed out to look overcast? Did they have the solar eclipse, like even if the skies were clear over there, was the solar eclipse directly above you completely like covered with these like different plumes of clouds, chemical clouds, or any sort of coverage? Did you get a clear view? There was only some people in the world who actually had clear view of it in the 100% totality in that path. Us here in Albuquerque, we only were in the 80% totality path. So, depending on where you were, you may have got the footage. There's some people who claim that there was some sort of a ship that was over the eclipse, and then I heard that someone basically just captured an airplane flying by over it. So those images, I guess, are still shots. So no aliens there. They're just right here. right here in New Mexico. But there were footage of people captured the moon away from the eclipse. It was like they had the eclipse right here, and then they'd go pan up, and then right above was the moon, a crescent moon. It's like, what? What's going on with that? Uh-oh, hold on one sec. Oh no. Did it again. Chaos. Oh my god. Chaos hitting everywhere, huh? Hold on a sec. Alright, sorry about that, guys. I had an issue with the water. I accidentally overfilled our filter. I need to get more water into the fish aquarium. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Good thing the cats alerted me. I saw them running towards something. I'm like, what are you guys looking at? I overfilled the water filter, and it started to pour over and trickle off the counter. I'm going to have to clean that up here in a sec. It's just water. I mean, what? It's just a mess. So what I was saying was that the eclipse, there's a lot of people who captured the images along the whole entire 100% totality path, and a lot of people captured some things like someone captured an airplane, and then it was claimed like it was a big old mothership flying over it. There's some video footage of individuals who what was interesting is they zoomed in. They're like, oh, there it is, there it is, there it is, and then they zoomed in, and you can hear like their natural reaction. Even the lady screaming in the background. They're like, oh, look, 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 there it is, there it is. And all of a sudden, it was like the moon was like right here, and then this thing of lightning just came in, went zero, and just zapped it real quick. I don't know if you guys saw that footage yet, but the lady was screaming in the back, like she was like, did you see that? Oh my God, did you see that? Like, that was a true reaction, you know? And I don't know what it was. I don't know. Also, people, like I said, people were saying that it wasn't the moon, including myself. Before it, you know, as we were following the moon into the eclipse, I was saying there's no way that that the paths would cross and would meet up. There's no way. From what I was watching and viewing, and now it seems like the moon is actually up really high in the sky, as if it is possible that it could have met the sun in the sky. I'm going to have to see where the moon is when it's directly above head, directly above us in the sky, to know where it is in correlation with the sun still. I should have been following the moon right away afterward. It's now Sunday. I should have been following it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Oh, sorry, today is Sunday. And I should have been following it all the way through, but you know, like I said, we got hit with some chaos this week. I don't know how I made it through and managed to get through, but I did. As you all probably are aware and know by now, we lost our friend Dr. Blue recently, and I've been over there emptying the home, cleaning it, getting it prepared to be put onto the market. That's been a pretty hard thing to just deal with on its own, with all the emotions and just the, you know, taking care of my friends' belongings and stuff. That's a really hard thing to do. And this last week, we during this whole thing, I had until Tuesday. And me, I've been following all these different things going on with the eclipse and the different warnings and all this stuff happening. And basically, um, there was all these warnings of communications going down, power grid failure, biological warfare, like all this stuff happening, right? Get your food supplies, get your water supplies, make sure this and that, like, and I don't know if it was just because they were saying that the masses were going to be traveling into certain places and that some places weren't going to be able to handle the amount of people there, and that the supplies and shipments and stuff. And then, right before we went into all this, we had the whole issue going down with the Baltimore Bridge, um, and how that shut down like a major food supply port, right? Or not just food, but just supplies in general and shipments in general. So, we were concerned that things might get shut down or whatever. So we were getting prepared for all of that, not knowing what might happen. I only had until Tuesday, and I was like, well, Monday is the eclipse, and I don't know if I have till Tuesday. Like, I'm gonna do my best to get this house clean and finished and everything, and I had delayed my time and waited until the first to give the last roommate time to move out. I figured, all right, well, you know, he'll be done, he'll be out by the first, and I'll be able to go in there. And then the first came and he wasn't out, and I was like, oh dang, now I gotta work around him and his schedule, and I don't even know like what's staying and what's going, so I had to like completely wait till he was gone to know what then I had to take care of and deal with. So um I delayed a little bit, which then felt like I was rushing myself to get things done, which created my own sort of chaos and panic, and and then dealing with just the pressures of daily life, and always like being constantly needing to be here for my wife and for our children. My wife, as you may know, I've mentioned this many times, she is on disability, and she has a hard time with just daily tasks and daily activities, dealing with um, myocarditis, different issues with the heart, and feeling faint, dizziness, passing out, or losing mobility, not being able to stand up, legs collapsing, things like that. So I feel it's necessary that I have to always be here to make sure my wife's okay, make sure that our kids are taken care of and things. So, it's always stressful for me. It always creates that daily chaos already. But then having to add, to the things like making sure that this home is done in time to get it prepared for the realtor, make sure everything's done, and then thinking like, okay, I can like leave a couple things there because they had some stuff there and stuff, and um, it was chaos, right? Um, Up before everything, uh, coming up to the eclipse, Easter weekend, my wife and I had a little bit of an argument, and apparently someone decided to call authorities because they felt that it was worse than what it was, when it was just basically arguments and you know people in relationships having arguments. And so someone felt it necessary to create some sort of a lie to make an accusation against me. And so now we had to deal with some officials coming into the home, and while I'm cleaning the home over there, Dr. Blues, I've been bringing stuff because they basically have been getting rid of everything. They're like, if there's anything in the home that you want to keep that's there, just go on ahead and take it, or let us know what it is, and we'll let you know whether you can have it or not. So I've been like accumulating like tons of books, which has just been getting piled up here, piled up here, piled up here, like in all these different places, right? And then new furniture pieces, which are, we live in a tiny 2-bedroom home. As you can see, we're utilizing every single nook and cranny, every corner that we possibly can, to make sure we have beautiful crafting areas and entertainment and music and beautiful artwork and amps and all kinds of stuff. Like, we have every corner pretty much is fulfilled with some way, right? Because we're only in a tiny little 2-bedroom home or apartment here. And in the process, I've been trying to rearrange an area because my daughter's older now, and I wanted to give her own little space for her to like be able to hang out and have her own little spot. So so I basically just decided we're gonna tear up the uh, the area back here, which is a little dining area, and we were basically utilizing the table as like storage. We were just like, things were just getting stacked and piled up there. And it's like, we're not even really utilizing this room. There was a storage, a shelf that was there for our daughter, for like her different activities, games, um, toys, which she's pretty much outgrowing now at this time, which is so weird to see that process, but that happens with our children when they get older. And more books coming in and more artwork and stuff, which is really cool. So she needs her own space, right? So I've been basically focused on creating the space, and in order to do so, I had to tear down the table. I had to remove that whole entire pile of stuff, which has no home yet, or had no home. Been slowly figuring out where things are going. But I had to like tear it all down. So then when you're trying to clean things, sometimes it makes a bigger mess until you can like reorganize it all, right? So I had to tear everything down off the table, to take the table down, take the legs off, set it up against the wall, so then I can have a little chill spot set up right there so she can sit and chill during the day. And I had a second refrigerator that's always been just basically right back underneath right here, and our cats would use it as a little perch to sit on and lay on and sleep on, and anything that was on top would get knocked off by the cats. Just a constant thing. They would always be running up on top of here, on top of my wife's stuff and her books and everything, and knocking stuff down and stuff. And so we got this second refrigerator right around or before the time of COVID and all the shutdowns, and when food supplies were starting to get scarce. And basically, I've had access to a free food line up at the Albuquerque Center for Peace and Justice every Saturday, 9 a.m. Everyone's welcome. There's no ID, no paperwork to fill out. There's no income checks. There's nothing. Everyone is welcome. They have plenty of food for anyone and everyone who feels that they could use some extra food. That's free, no cost. You simply wait in line, grab an item or two from each table, and move on. Grab an item or two, keep on going around until it's all gone. And they'll let you, on the second time going around, they're like, okay, now you guys can take like two or whatever. It's like, if the line's pretty much done, then they're like, just take as much as you want, take it all, and that way they don't have to worry about leftovers and stuff. So um that was Saturday. Went to the food line, right? And we've been uh, having this refrigerator for like the last few years, and so I've been accumulating extra food to then hand out and disperse and make sure that we also had extra food in case food shortages and stuff like that. And so it's been very helpful. But now it's time for it to move. So for like the last month now, I've posted it up for sale. I priced it at $200. I saw another one similar that was sold for a little bit more than $200. And I figured, well, I'll price it at $200, price it high. That way, if someone wants to like finagle with the price and want to drop it down lower, or trade me for something of a lesser value, then we can have that room, for negotiation. So someone right away said, "Hey, I'm interested. I need a refrigerator. I'm interested. I'll give you $100 cash and some trade." I'm like, "Cool, let's do it. Let's make it happen." And then the person was like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna have to get a U-Haul, so then I can get it." I was like, "Okay, well, I have a friend who has a truck, and it's possible that maybe we can deliver it to you, and you can just pay him $20 instead of getting the U-Haul and going through all of that, and we could just pay him $20 for the gas and the time, and we'll deliver the fridge to you." Then my friend, I couldn't reach him that weekend or whatever. The person never contacted me back. I contacted him back the following week, a couple of days later, and he's like, "Oh, I spent the money that I had for it, and what I was gonna trade for you, I'm completely out, but I'll get more, and I'll get some cash in like 3 or 4 days." I'm like, "All right, cool. Like, there's no rush. I'm just trying to get it out so I can start moving things around, make room." And and then there was a delay and no conversation, no communication. And while I'm moving things out of Dr. Blue's, some furniture items come up. And I'm like, "Hey, that desk? My daughter could really utilize that desk. It was a big old long desk. It had 3 drawers on the end. So we could even keep any of her stuff in there if she wants to keep her clothes in there, or wants to keep art supplies or whatever she wants to keep in there. She can have that, a little dresser, 3 dresser drawer with a big old long desk, a whole long platform to work on." I was like, "Yeah, we need that." And it needed to get picked up, like, it needed to come home that day. I'm like, "Well, I haven't removed the refrigerator yet and all this." I'm like, "How am I going to fit it?" So, we already got all this books, all this chaos coming in with extra things. I got really awesome djembe drums. I've got 2 drums that were gifted to me. I have another drum I'm holding on to for a person. So I've got like 3 drums. They take up a lot of space. Everything's just been piled up, and then I've been finding tools and finding like random knickknacks and all these little things, dishes, glassware, just random stuff, right? That's just gonna get thrown away. Go to the dump. Go to the dump. So I've been accumulating just all this random stuff while the room over here is getting completely like disorganized and tore up, like a tornado hit it, right? And then someone like makes these false accusations, and all of a sudden we got someone knocking on our door, and they have to come in, and it's like, wait, whoa, they're coming into the place where, when our place is completely disorganized. So they looked at it like, "You guys are completely over cluttered. This is a fire hazard. There's dishes in the sink." And I'm like, "Isn't there always dishes in everyone's sink?" Like, that's a simple, like, just to create a probable cause, right? Just to give some reason to come back or whatever, right? So it's like, whatever, like, stupid false accusations again. Someone called, I don't know who it was. I have an idea, because there's only like 1 or 2 individuals that would have even known about the situation, right? So, I mean, you only need to put 2 and 2 together to figure out who would have done that. So I have my speculations, even though I was told it wasn't that individual. But it is what it is. And, whatever. I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. And so, what I had to do basically was take care of the family, take care of the home. And while I'm doing all these side jobs to make sure that I can get this done in all this little bit of time, and I'm bringing in all this new furniture, I'm creating my own chaos, then someone's got to, boom, throw a wrench into the cogs and like bring in even more chaos. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So now the person tells us, "Oh, well, we'll be back in 4 days, or we'll be back on Friday, to do another inspection and see if you've got this all cleared up and whatever, dishes clean, and not as much clutter." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I got to get rid of this refrigerator because it's blocking a path." I mean, we have a path to get in through our bathroom and into our bedroom, which then goes to the back room and into the backyard, right? We have a path. We had a lot of clutter in our bedroom, which leads to the back room. It was basically closed, But you know, if it's not a clear floorway, then it's considered a fire hazard. So I had to basically just pick up the clothes off the floor and just pile them up into piles where they've already been piled and repiled, and they just need to get out of here because they're just old clothes that I've like tried to oh man, I've tried to pile them up and been like, okay, these are the ones that are going, these are all the 7 and 8, these are all the 5 and 6s, like, you know, all by sizes and everything. Now I got to do it all over again. I'm at the point where I'm just gonna bag it and just throw it outside, let people just go through it. I'm like, I'm tired of it. So so we got all that cleared out, right? And so I'm like, okay, I've got until Tuesday. You know, we got to go through the eclipse Monday, see if hopefully everything is okay and we all get through that, right? Tuesday is my last day that I have to get this all done um, at the home for the realtor, right? And I was like, okay, I'll get all my stuff that I left over there because they're going to come back this weekend and they're going to grab their own stuff, right? So, and then I had a futon that I was like, well, I can't bring the futon right now because it's going to create way too much more chaos. I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to pull the futon out to get a new futon in while we already got this clutter that I'm dealing with, and I got to clean the clutter or else we can be in big trouble with the state, right? So I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. So then I'm like, I'll just wait. Since they're coming back, and they said that some of the furniture in the home could be there, like the kitchen table and the lamps and a couple things. I was like, well, if those things are staying, I can leave the futon and that can kind of stay as just like, you know, staging it as so the house doesn't look empty or whatever. And I'll come back for it when they come back. Well, on Wednesday, I finally am done. So I'm done with the house Tuesday. We get through the eclipse. Nothing happens. There's no shutdowns. I can ride the bus. That's the other thing. Is I have no vehicle. So I got to travel everywhere by bus, which takes hours to get from one place to another, which usually would only take like 10 minutes to drive. Seriously, it takes 2 to 3 hours to get to some places because you got to hop on one bus to catch another. And sometimes you got to wait and there's a 40-minute delay, and it is what it is. So 3 hours sometimes to get to one spot or to get back and forth. So I finally get the work done on Tuesday. Wednesday rolls around. I have a friend who's all set and ready. I asked him on Wednesday, when I'm done with all this other stuff, can you come and please help me to remove the refrigerator? I got to get rid of some clutter, take it to the storage, and we can do that. It's like, cool. We got about 2 or 3 trips in that day. Because was it that day? Yeah. So then, on the very first day that we're moving stuff, right? We're grabbing some things. And maybe it was the next, I don't remember now. I'm just like, was it that day or was it all on Thursday? I think Wednesday. We finally got like all of what we needed moved, and I was like, okay, tomorrow we'll move the refrigerator out. I'll get things set up. I got to move some things out of the way to clear the entryway because we got our kids' toys right there, and it just, I had to move a shelf of toys to get the refrigerator out, and the futon had to be moved, and so there's a lot of clutter I had to clear out in order to, you got to do this to do that to do this to do that. So finally. We're getting things out. It's Thursday. I'm like, okay, the plan is to move the fridge. We're going to go take some stuff to storage, get the fridge out, and we have a whole day because they're coming back on Friday, right? My friend's delaying. I'm like, okay, well, let me just clean some clutter and do some things and get some stuff ready to go. So I cleared some stuff. I couldn't get into the room yet because my wife and our son were sleeping. And they normally sleep in until noon, so I was like, okay, well, I'll just wait a few hours or whatever. And and then I get a phone call. Actually, that was on Wednesday. I got a phone call on Wednesday while we're working, and we're like getting ready, moving things, and all of a sudden, I find out my old roommate, where I still have some stuff stored, where I used to live before I moved away to Camp Two Dogs, and then came back here and got into this relationship, and now living here, um, in back in Albuquerque. My old roommate, um, he had some mental issues and things, and he basically lost his father, who was his sole caregiver provider, who helped to establish all the caretakers and all the caregiving stuff that he needed. So now he was deemed fit to live on his own and going to go to a group home. So that day I get a call like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you answered. I've been trying to reach you. I've been texting you and texting you. And I guess the number that I have is an old number." And I've been calling this individual who's my old roommate's sister, with my new number, like for the last year or so, in contact, trying to find out what's been going on with my old roommate, and trying to, help out with that situation. So I don't know why there was a communication confusion with the number. She could have easily just went into the last messages and seen the last text and been like, "Oh yeah, this is the new number. That's the old number." So she was messaging the wrong number. She finally reaches me on Wednesday as we're about to go do a dump run. Sorry, go do a storage run. And she says, "Hey, we moved everything out, and we noticed there's stuff in the garage that looks like it belongs to you, and we didn't want to just take it to the dump, so we wanted to give you an opportunity to get it out. Is there any way you can get it out right now today?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I just have today and tomorrow to clear our home before we get in trouble by the state. But yes, I can go do that. So I didn't realize how many bikes I had, but I had accumulated 10 bikes, 10 bicycles, some really awesome frames, some really nice bikes. I even forgot about. I was like, wow, I have that. I have a mongoose that I didn't even realize I had a mongoose frame. I was like, that's a nice bike. I might have to fix that one up. And well, I'm gonna have to fix them all up. I got some vintage frames. I got some old little kids bikes frames. I got some cool little kid bike frames that can turn into some beautiful lowrider bikes, which we have here. So we went and we picked up these bikes. Luckily, they fit in the truck, all in one load. 10 bicycles and a few other random things. Right. Took them to storage. That took one of our loads that I was gonna get stuff out. I was like, it's all right. We got another day, a whole another 24 hours to get this stuff done until Friday. So Thursday, I'm waiting for my friend, right? He doesn't show up right away. I'm like, well, okay, I'll just get some things cleaned and cleared and do some stuff, and and preparing for getting the fridge out. The next thing I know, my wife comes out of the room earlier than she normally wakes up. Like I said, she wakes up around noon, usually every day, noonish. Sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a little later, and that's when our son wakes up. And this was about like 10 o'clock. I was expecting to be gone with my friend at about 9 doing our first dump or our storage run, coming back, getting more, going back and forth. We had to wait for her to wake before I could go into the bedroom to do that whole clearing of that back room and into the back area. And then she got a call. Like the lady says, "Hey, instead of coming tomorrow on Friday, I'm just going to come right now." It's like, what do you mean? You said you're going to be back Friday. You can't just like drop the ball on us like that. Like what? So then, anxiety goes through the roof and stress and chaos. It's like, oh my gosh. So then I became a whirlwind. Somehow, like the Tasmanian devil. And somehow I cleared space to make it look like like we had floor space. Refrigerator's still inside though. And I'm like, it still looks like there's a fire hazard. It still looks like it's crazy cluttered in the space that I'm trying to make look nice for my daughter. And it's like, oh my gosh, this crazy whirlwind, right? And also, let's not forget the day. of after the eclipse, that evening, the next morning, our son wakes up throwing up sick. We heard that something might happen if you look at the solar eclipse. There might be a solar eclipse sickness. I don't know. But he got sick. He woke up, I guess, well, in the middle of the night. My wife smelled, he had like really bad gas, I guess, while he was sleeping. And then, like, a few moments later, an hour later, he woke up saying he had to throw up. So he had some issues and he had to throw up. He was sick for about 24 hours and then he got better. He had a fever. So this was all on Tuesday when I'm trying to like get things done in that home, and then we're trying to worry about him for Tuesday and Wednesday and trying to move all this stuff. It was total chaos this last week. Trying to do everything, so much stuff, while also trying to get groceries in the home and making sure bills are paid and taking care of whatever runs that we need to get money into banks and get like whatever needed to be done. Somehow things got worked out and everything happened. She shows up Thursday, a day sooner. Um, Basically does like an interview with us or whatever, asks us questions, tells us that someone called and said that they saw something that happened that didn't ever occur. It's like, man, these lives can get people into some really deep waters here that, like, we don't need to be dealing with this when we got all this other stuff going on. But thank you so much for doing that, because I guess now our house is cleaner than it's ever been. But that ain't cool. It ain't cool. Whoever did that, whoever called, it ain't cool. I think I know who you are. I ain't gonna name names though, because there's only a couple people who would know what happened. So she left. Everything was cool. Complete relief. Like, oh my gosh. But I still got to get things out. We still got to go do the dump run. We still got to do all those things, man. So as we're doing all this stuff, then my wife, during this whole week, she gets issues with her eye, and she gets an eye infection. And she has like a sty that she's been dealing with, on top of all this stuff. And we got to go to the pharmacy, and she has to go to the hospital or the urgent care. She thought she was gonna have to go to the hospital. It was like so much stuff going on. Like, oh my gosh, it's been crazy, guys. This last week. That's why, like, I just spilled that water right there. I'm like, I am not even sweating the little stuff right now. I will clean that up in a little bit. We got Norwex. It's just water. Whatever. So, the eclipse possibly made people sick, because then my wife had this issue with her eye. Um, Yesterday or the day before, she's complaining about a fever and being sick, which maybe she got from taking care of our son. Um, Luckily, I don't know how I can be around all these people always sick all the time. I'm good. My daughter ended up getting sick as well. She got a sore throat. I don't know about a fever, but she got a sore throat. Could be allergies. Could be the fact that she's sleeping in front of a fan. But she's like burning up. I'm like, okay, like, yeah, probably not good to sleep in front of a fan. So, been making her tea for the last day. I don't know if anyone's been getting sick after the whole solar eclipse besides us. What if anything happened with you guys? Anyone? Um, let's make sure the live chat is visible as well. Also, did anyone see any of the stuff of what I was talking about with the footage? Live footage of the eclipse. People saw UFOs flying by, which maybe they were little insects flying by in the foreground while everyone's, you got to remember with cameras, sometimes they pick up everything, so you can't tell the depth field, the depth scale, and whether something's in the foreground or in the background. That's why they can make, like, you can set up, little toy cars, right? Like in the front, I don't know. I don't know if I could, but like you could have like a road right here, right? And you can make it look like there's something in the far background, like this is real mountains right here. Like, look, there's a painting, or like whatever, and you make this look like a road, and there's a toy car right there, but it looks like it's real, right, with a real background on it. And that's how a lot of advertisements and things like that they do their photos and they do their marketing campaigns, is just using models and things. And so with the camera, you got to know that there's a lot of camera tricks. And so sometimes the depth perception or the depth of scale, you can't tell whether something's in the foreground or the background. So maybe it was just a bug flying by. But then there's all these other weird images, like the lightning zapping and hitting the moon, and real true reactions in the background. People yelling and screaming, "What was that? What was that?" Like all yelling. Um, they talked about firing rockets into the moon and into the eclipse, which I'm like, how would you even fire a rocket into it? Like, you're not gonna reach it. And CERN vamping up their the hydrogen collider. I don't really know. I don't really know like what else happened as far as like chaos and things. Um, I didn't see a lot of power outages or phones going down. I didn't hear about anything like that. I just heard a lot of people were saying that there were um, photos, images, footage of the eclipse, and then they'd pan up, and then there'd be the moon. Or they'd go over and they'd see over here, there'd be a moon here, and there'd be a moon over here. So there's a lot of footage of this coming out. And like I said, I didn't think that the moons, I said moons like we got two moons. Do we? So, like I said, the visible new moon that we always see, I didn't think that that path was going to be able to line up with the sun's path and where they were going. Now that I'm seeing the moon in the night sky, maybe because it's coming up really low that way and then going really high over that way. So it's rising in the southern hemisphere and setting in the northern or something, like, I don't know. It's interesting. It's crisscrossing. It used to be just a there to there, a straight line. So I don't know. It's been pretty chaotic here in my world. I'm still like, man, you should see the mess that I'm sitting around right here. But we got a new futon. I did get the futon in. After the lady came on Thursday, and then it was just like a relief. It was like, okay, now we don't have to worry about rushing to get a whole bunch of stuff over to the storage. Let's just go get that futon and let's go take care of whatever needs to be done, and we can just chill and relax finally. So that's what I've been doing ever since, well, kinda, ever since Thursday. Friday was good though. Friday was a good day. Except, that was an interesting day. I don't know if you guys heard about the school shooting on Friday. My child's mom is a teacher, and she actually gave me a warning that morning to keep our child at home. Apparently, something went through, emails or something. Teachers got them, or school board got them, or something. And she heard that there might be something happening, and so she asked me to keep our daughter home on Friday. So apparently, there was another school shooting. I believe that was in Texas. Prayers go to all of them, to everyone. Once again, another situation, another event, right? But I'm grateful that we didn't go to school that day, and we ended up actually checking out another school that my child is interested in. My child's an amazing artist, and I feel that we need to get our child in a more art-based, more art-focused academics schooling. That way she can actually earn grades. through her artwork. So I believe next year she's gonna be enrolling in a new school and going into art school, which I'm stoked about. I'm happy about. It's an hour later, so she gets to sleep in when she's with me. We're gonna have to figure out things with her mom because her mom's a teacher, and so she goes in early to the other school, which then forces my child, our daughter, to have to go in early all the time, unless she's with me, and then she shows up normal time. But when she's with her mom, she has to show up an hour early to school, and that's got to get tiring, you know. Have to be forced there to be at school when you could sleep in. But we might have positive changes happening with our family. Like I said, to the person who tried to create the worst of chaos in our home, I'm gonna thank you, because if anything, all you did was just force me to like do more cleaning than I've ever had to do, which that got me tired. Actually, that's another thing, is after the eclipse, I've been working hard this last week and the last couple weeks trying to get all this stuff done. And when I finally was able to just like wind down after a long day after this eclipse, it seems like I've just been passing out like hard. Seriously. So um I'm trying to remember when it was. I'm thinking it was like on Tuesday or Wednesday night. It was the night that my wife went back to the ER, or sorry, to the urgent care. Because her medicine, her prescriptions were messing with her, making her feel like real itchy and shaky and things. So she went back to get the prescription changed and to see if there was anything worse or wrong, or if they needed to lance her eye, because it had gotten really, really infected and messed up with the sty and the infection. And so I was with the kids, and they were all winding down, getting ready for bed. And I decided to get myself a bowl of cereal, which is something I do for like a dessert in the evenings, and wind down and watch some shows, right? So I'm eating my cereal. I got me some frosted shredded wheats mixed with some um, cocoa crispies, and next thing I know, my wife comes in the door, and she's hovering over me on the couch. She's like, "Honey, I'm home." And she's like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "What do you mean what happened?" I'm like, "Hey," like waking up, like, "Hey, you're back." Like, good, good, because we were worried that she was gonna get put into inpatient and be there for like a day or a couple days to heal. So, because we thought they were gonna have to lance it and cut it and then hold her overnight at least. So she was back right away, or at least it felt. And then she was asking me what happened. I'm like, "What do you mean what happened?" And she's all looking down on the floor, and I was just like, "What? What happened?" And apparently, I fell asleep with the bowl. I use this bowl. It looks like a big old coffee mug, like a Mad Hatter's teacup. So I got this bowl with a the handle, and apparently, like I must have just like dozed off and fell asleep, poured it right out, dumped it, dropped the whole cup on the floor. I wake up and it's just, as I said, I've been dealing with all this chaos and having to move stuff, right? And all this clutter. And then we moved the futon in, right? So I had to take everything out from underneath the futon, all the toys, all the shoes, the socks that get lost under there. I have a bunch of electronic equipment and wires and cables and stuff under on my side over here, and just random junk. you know, like like volt readers, like voltimeters, and just randomness, just extra cables, and just things that have other things in it, and just random stuff here. All of it's pulled out from under the couch right now. because we had the futon come in, and this futon has really cool drawers. It got drawers underneath, so we can actually slide them in and out, and the drawers are empty. So all this stuff can go in my drawer. But I didn't have time to clean everything on the floor, so when I spilt that the cereal and the milk, like I said, it was frosted shredded wheat with the Cocoa Krispies. She thought I had gotten sick. She thought that I got sick on the floor, and that I was so like sick and hurting that I just couldn't even get up to clean it. Because like, our son was sick, and then she's got this sickness, and then I think like the day after, like that's when my daughter ended up having the sore throat. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just made the worst mess ever. Like worse than our 4-year-old son has ever made, worse than our daughter's ever made. Like I don't think that they've made a bigger mess than I did that night, the other night. And when I scooped it all back up into the bowl, I realized at least half the bowl of cereal was spilt on the floor. So I completely passed out. Are you guys like feeling like completely lethargic to the point where like I don't do that, guys? I don't do that. I don't just like while I'm eating, you just like pass out in the middle of like taking bites. Like what is going on? And it could be just that I've been working so hard, so much, right? And like this coming week is now the week that I can finally get caught up with all my clients who are waiting for me. It's like, okay, I got a lot more work to look forward to still this week. Woo, never ends. But it's good that I got work, right? Some people don't got no work at all. So, with that being said, it's been a crazy week, guys. And all I can say is yesterday was decent to just be able to finally just sit and relax and chill. I don't think I had anything too much. I mean, it's still cleaning, still making messes. There's still stuff goes on every day. Uh, Still working on the dishes every day. It's so funny they came in all. You got a sink full of dishes. Like, I bet you do too. It's so funny that they try to use that as an excuse. You had a sink full of dishes. It's like, well, yeah, but they're not full of food and stuff. At least they're all rinsed. They're like ready to be washed. They're not nasty. It's not like all sitting in some nasty, oily, old soap water that a lot of people do. Like, I don't understand how y'all sometimes just fill up a sink full of soap water and then put your dirty, nasty dishes in there without even rinsing them first. And then all that oil and all the food and all that nastiness just gets in there. I can't put my hands in that. That's gross. That's like sewage water to me. That's nasty. I have to rinse each individual bowl and plate, silverware. I soak the silverware in like a cup. I'll have a cup there full of water and then just soak them all individually. Just let them soak right there. So I don't have to worry about scrubbing a bunch of nasty, caked on, hardened food and stuff. And then the Norwex with just water and Norwex, man. That's all I need. And so we didn't have a lot of nasty dishes in the sink, but we have dishes in the sink, and we have hardly any counter space. So all our dishes pretty much go in the sink when they get dirty. They don't just like pile up onto the counter and stuff. But it is what it is. We got through the week. It was a very chaotic and hectic week for me, and for the world too. I mean, now we're in war, I guess. Things just popped off yesterday or the night before, and Israel and who is it? Israel under attack. Is it Syria, Iran? I'm not really paying attention too much of what's going on over there because I got so many things going on over here with all these other plates that I'm juggling. But with all that being said, I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I have Krishna to provide me with the energy and the strength to just get through these chaotic and hectic times. And I'm grateful that my immunity is strong enough to be around all these individuals who are sick, and I don't get sick, and I can take care of them, and I can try to do what I can to lessen their struggle and their suffering while they're here. And so, I'm just gonna do the best I can and continue helping out all those that I possibly can. Oh yeah, I didn't even tell you on that last day too. So we were gonna like try to just do a few dump runs and stuff, and then I get the phone call or I get a text all, "Hey, do you think you can get the futon out today for the realtor and empty out and get all the artwork from that back room and all the stuff and empty it out entirely?" It's like I gotta do all this stuff still, but yeah, we'll go do that. So then I was forced to get the futon in, but I'm glad I got the futon in. It forced me to clear this area here. So now my guitar's right here. And we got this little space. And I've got like stuff all up in here in this little spot here. And um, the futon's a lot wider. So we have more room. And it's got cool little spots for like books. It's got a little book area, book nook on each side. And the little things, the handles, the handrails, they open up. It's cool. I like it, and it's more comfortable, and somehow it matches the pillows we already had. Like, it just worked out perfectly. So I just had to keep faith in God and just know that we were going to make it through. We were going to be okay. Um, this refrigerator is still here, though, and the individual decided to tell me, I'm sorry, I just can't afford it at the time. It's like, but I thought you said you needed a refrigerator. Like, I guess you didn't really need it. You just wanted an extra refrigerator. When people use those words, like, it's like, okay, well, if you need it, I'm going to hold it for you. I had several other people who contacted me, but I didn't respond because I'm like, well, I already got someone who's interested. I'm not going to, like, try to sell it up underneath them. So I held it for, like, a month now. So I got a refrigerator, guys. It's really nice. It's a Maytag, I believe, or Whirlpool. I don't remember. It's in the listing. You can check it out on my Facebook page, um, and on nextdoor.com if you're there on my account. But other than that, if you're in Albuquerque and you're interested, let me know in the comments below. If you need a refrigerator, it's ready to go. It's so cold that sometimes it freezes a little bit of that center part of the top shelf in the refrigerator, so you got to be careful not to put foods there that you can't have frozen, but if you have foods there that could be frozen, then that would be fine. You could put butter there. I'm sure that would be like one of the best things to put there would be butter. um but it's just the design of the fridge. I guess it uses the coolant from the freezer to cool the fridge, and so as it's pushing that freezer air in, it just freezes stuff. And that's one of the flaws of the design of that model. But it works perfect. Has an ice maker. It's in good condition. I actually want to keep it, but we live in an apartment, and if I keep it for this apartment, then they just get a really nice, good refrigerator. So I'm selling our refrigerator. It's not the one that came from the apartment. Um, and but yeah, I would rather keep it, but it also doesn't fit in the space where our apartment refrigerator goes. This one's a lot bigger. It's a lot nicer. The freezer space is bigger and nicer. The drawers, it has all the drawers in it. The crispers, it's got all of it. Everything. It's nice. It's clean. It's beautiful. It's immaculate. White, I believe. Maybe eggshell white on the outside. But after I can get rid of the fridge, that's the last of the chaos, I think, besides removing all of this crazy clutter. Do you want to see the clutter? Do you want to see this? Look at this. Oh my gosh. This is what's on my floor. This. Look at that's where my keyboard is sitting right now, so I can watch. We have our TV is our computer, right? Our computer is our TV. It's how we watch YouTube and all the other things on going online and all this stuff, right? But that's the chaos, guys. That's it right there. and it's a big mess. But once I can clear the spot, then our son has his little area back where he has his marble run, and he has his marble racer track and his number blocks activity set, and he's got his mat right here, so it's all soft. But I took over his spot for a minute, but he took over the whole house. So I mean, I think I think I'm allowed to take over his little spot here because we've given him the whole rest of the house. Like there's toys there, toys there, toys there. The whole wall full of toys there. There's toys behind me. There's toys over here. There's toys everywhere. All right. Well, I'm done sharing. I think we're gonna keep track of what's going on with the solar eclipse and the sicknesses and stuff that may be occurring. They say that we're in for this whole 40 days thing. That in 40 days we're gonna see something happen. Um, if you've been following Dr. John Campbell on YouTube, he's been coming out with all the latest information, revealing the truths of what happened during COVID. He's been doing it since the beginning. That's why he was never shut down. Is all he was doing was simply reading the reports that were being publicly made public information. So anything that was public information, he wasn't in trouble for. You know, he was basically reading the results of the NIH, the CDC, the WHO, you know, the powers that be, and different individual countries and states would also publish their own findings and studies as well, and he would read things. So Dr. John Campbell, he's been talking about what's really been going on with this long COVID or long vax. It's a new term called long vax. So long COVID or long vax are considered to be very similar. Long vax is actually more persistent. It's more creates more health conditions and health situations, more health problems than the just long COVID itself. They're finding out that it's something called I don't want to say the wrong term. Basically, it's a what is it called? Myargic. Mm, MEC CF. It's like a chronic fatigue syndrome and something else. They're figuring out ways that they might be able to treat it or to lessen the symptoms to make it more bearable to live with. There's no cures, guys. Whatever scientific experiment occurred in the last few years has to do with the spike protein pathogen and the fact that it is a pathogen, it's been found as a pathogen, and that it is spreading. And it's not like they said that it would just stay localized, right? But it's not, and it's spreading throughout the muscles, throughout the organs, into the brain, um, creating, speeding up cancers, causing more cancers, and speeding up the mortality rates, which means that long time ago, if you had cancer, you would, you know, be a cancer survivor for like 10 years or so before you would perish. Now, you're getting a new reading that you have it, and within weeks, months, you're gone. This just recently happened to a friend of ours here who was just diagnosed like last winter or fall, and she's gone now. She just passed like a few weeks ago. To our friend Lupita, rest in peace. She was a friend of ours who did a lot of vending, a lot of markets, always invited my wife and I there. But we also know that she was one who was all for making sure the public health was okay. And she was doing these events, and she, I believe, helped to be a part of administering these jabs, which may have helped to give her the cancer and take her out rapidly. So these are actual factual findings. Um, this is now evidence, proof of what's going on. There, it's no longer like, this is maybe what's happening, or this may like, no, they're actually now saying that this is what's going on, this is what's happening, this is what's causing it, and now we can move forward to find procedures and different treatments that can help with lessening the whole entire suffering of it, of having it, which sucks because 80% of the world's population got it, guys. So with all this information coming out right now, I feel that they are now allowing the truth to come out easily. Remember before, everything was like flagged. Everything was flagged, you know. Oh, that's a fact checker this and fact checker that, and oh, this is misleading and misguided information, and this is misinformation and blah blah, and you're not allowed to post anything because you're just a glass blower and blah. Like, you know, it's like, man, if we're just trying to share information so we can help our fellow mankind out, that should be allowed. That is my sovereign God given right to be able to share this information out with my brothers and sisters. And F you for trying to stop me. Anyone who ever tried to stop me. I still wonder how my old friend Alex Potamo is doing, you know? Because he was all for it and he pushed it on to his daughter, and I wonder how his daughter's doing. I consider that child abuse, but it'll never be deemed legally as such because the whole world was duped into believing it, including all these professionals who went against their gut feeling, knowing that being told to follow certain protocols wasn't helping your patients, right? That's why we now have a group of doctors who are part of the FCCC, I believe, and they are removing themselves from the ordinary medical procedures and practices, and they're basically just doing what they're been taught to do, which is to find treatments and cures for patients to help them with their ailments, to find cures and treatments to treat patients accordingly to what they have, not just according to protocol. Not just, oh, I'm just doing my job. I'm sorry that you lost your mom or your dad or your son or your daughter. I'm just doing my job, you know? So now, with all this truth that's coming out, and with what happened recently with the whole solar eclipse, what I feel is that they're just releasing the truth out because they're already moving on to the next thing. So in 40 days, well, we got a minus a week now, right? So in 33 days from now, in a month's time, we, gosh, that's going to be right around our son's birthday. Well, hopefully we can keep him healthy and safe. But we will see in a month's time another situation occur that we're not going to know what's going on. It's going to become the new solar eclipse sickness that has hit the world by storm. All this weather manipulation, huh? All by storm. All by design. So, yeah, we're going to see some stuff. It's going to be even more chaotic around the world, but I guess we've gotten through our own little chaos here in our home. And I just wanted to share that a little bit. I guess I needed to kind of vent a little bit, and I wanted to share some of the things and kind of correlate and connect some things to see, are you guys experiencing any of this? Is anyone getting sick in your home? Did you guys witness the two moons? Are you guys hearing about the 40 wait for 40 days from now? Like 40 days, 40 nights, right? Are you guys hearing any of these things? Am I the only one? Am I giving you the information first? What do you guys think? What are you guys doing today? You guys doing any planting? I think today's a beautiful day to get out there and do some gardening and get ready to move that refrigerator out. So I gotta clear the porch. That's what I really need to do. All right, well, I'm gonna enjoy this little quick session here, and you guys have a wonderful day. Try to get through the chaos as best you can. Always keep faith in God, and just always don't pray for more from God. Just pray that you can handle what God gives you. That's all. That's the best thing to do. Just always pray that you can handle what God gives you. All right. With that being said, I'm out. Love and blessings. Thanks for watching the Glassman's World. Thank you all. 900 and what, 28, 29 subscribers now. That's awesome. All organic. We're almost to 1K, guys. I think at 500K I was eligible for monetization, but my watch time needs to go up. I do believe if I make more shorts, I can make that happen, but it's not my job. My job isn't to be an influence here on YouTube. My job is simply to just share what I feel is necessary to share. And sometimes when we go through our own problems and our own situations, and when we share how we can handle them and deal with them, that maybe it helps others to deal with them and process them a little bit better, a little bit easier. So, we got hit with the whirlwind this week, guys, and I'm doing all right. And I'm still not sick. Like I said, 11/11 of last year, I posted up that I was going to share anytime and every time I ever got sick, right? And I've been around all these people, all these sickos, all their health issues, all being sick around me. And I'm still not sick, guys. I mean, I shared the other, twice, right? That maybe I got sick. But what was it? I got teeth issues, right? So I've got all these sinus issues because all the nose, throat, ear, nose, throat, all of it's all connected. So when you got teeth issues and you got infections, that creates sinus infection and stuff. So I've been constantly blowing my nose for like the last 10 years when I first started noticing that I've had sinusitis and dealing with that. So it's been at least like 10 years. So, the whole me blowing my nose, yeah, maybe I've been sick for 10 years, but in a whole different way. I'm not like getting a cold, a flu, fever, um, any sort of sore throats or anything like that, guys. I've been good since November. Um, I guess maybe the last time when I went live, I think I was like kind of sick. I don't know. I was dealing with a lot of dust, like 40 years worth of dust in the home. Also, they have insulation that's just falling from the roof. So I've been breathing in fiberglass and breathing in like insulation dust. With whether I have a mask on or not, that ain't gonna save me 100%. We all learned that, right? Micron particulates. They're only blocked by masks that can actually block micron-sized particulates, right? Like the N95s, but if you don't change an N95 every 4 hours, then you're breathing in your own bacteria and you're getting yourself sick at that point. But people don't want to believe that. People want to believe like, oh, my bacteria isn't that bad. Silly, silly children. So, if I was sick, I think it was just because I was congested with a bunch of dust and things, and it just hit me in my respiratory area, my lungs, and I was just having to cough things up and get it out. I don't think I was actually sick on that last video when I claimed that maybe I'm sick, guys, because that's what I said, maybe I'm sick. So, when I get sick, I will let y'all know. My wife thought I was sick the other night, though, when I spilt my cereal. That shredded wheat, man, and Cocoa Krispies. That is a good movie prop. A good thing for Halloween. If you ever want to gross your friends out anytime, there you go. A little bit of milk with some shredded wheat and some oatmeal will make anyone think that you got sick. All right, I'm gonna let y'all go. So I'm just like rambling on. I'm gonna I'm gonna go live again soon. We're gonna talk about what's going on with the water oasis in the Mojave Desert. You guys hear about the water? It looks clean, guys. It looks like it's drinkable. There's fish swimming in a desert oasis. It's supposed to be Mojave Desert, hot and dry. There's water out there, and it looks drinkable. It looks clean. The reason why I say that is because it's crystal clear. There's not even any bubbles. It doesn't even look like it has salt water in it. No brine. It looks clean, guys. I want to go get water samples of that. I want to seed that water. That would be awesome. Have some seed water from that. I think that's coming from the natural waters that are underground. We have so much water in this world, we'll never run out, guys. Remember that. Water is life. Every drop counts. I'll leave you with that.